Hello, hi, and welcome. If you are new here, my name is Sarah, and this is Wicked Reading. So today, I want to share my March TBR. I know, who is she? Doing a monthly TBR hasn't been done before here, but the reason I'm doing a March-specific monthly TBR is because in March I will be participating in the REALM-A-THON readathon happening all March long, hosted by Covers with Cassidy. I will link her announcement video down below. So in honor of joining this readathon, I wanted to kind of create a stack that goes along with the theme, helps out my team. It is a team-based readathon, which honestly are my favorite types of readathons. I love competition and teams. It's so fun. So I wanted to create a stack of books that really feed into the theme. But the readathon is very open and really allows for mood reading. So I do have some books on this list that were books I just already wanted to read, but I wanted to also pick ones that kind of pertain to my team specifically. So I did join the Realm of Time. Each team has very specific bonus points that they can get along with kind of the overall bonus points throughout the readathon. But for the Time team, my bonus point opportunities come from books with white covers and books that have an object on the cover. So I went through and pulled all of my white cover books, and I don't have that many, but I have enough for sure. And the stack of books that I have is way bigger than the amount of books I'm sure I will get to, but I wanted to still have like a really nice stack to be able to choose from that I know will help my team out in some way. So I do have them broken up kind of by why I picked them for like the readathon specifically. As a warning, I'm not going to know all of the premises to all of these books. Most of the time I pick up books based on very few keywords and very much based on vibes. So I'm not going to be giving you guys like a good synopsis of these books, just a warning. I will tell you guys what I think that they're about or why I decided to pick them up, but that may or may not actually hold true to the actual story in the book. So just as a warning, this is not a great video for a synopsis. I'm not trying to sell you guys on these books right now. I'm just trying to show and share what books I have picked out for the readathon and just for my month of March in general. So right off the bat, I need to get these two out of the way because I will forget about them otherwise. Part of my goals in 2024 is I need to read a Kindle Unlimited book, at least one a month. So I have two books that are already downloaded on my Kindle that would help my team because they both have white covers. One of them being The Watchers by A.M. Shine. I don't really know what this is about, but I saw it a lot very recently pop up. It's not like a new release, but for some reason it popped up a lot in my timelines and stuff like that very recently. I think that it's a witch book. But I could be totally wrong. Actually, let me just look up at least a little bit to give you guys, okay? Because I don't even know if that's true at all. Okay, it says, in the middle of nowhere, Mina is forced to seek help inside the trees, where she discovers 3 people living inside a concrete bunker. Okay. She soon learns they are trapped there by stuff of nightmares. When night falls, they need to be inside the bunker or the Watchers will get them. Okay, so not a witch book. I don't know why I thought that, but it sounds like an isolated bunker type setting in the forest. It's on the list because it has a white cover. Or I can read Intercepts by TJ Payne. This is another one. I don't really know what it's about, but I've heard a lot of people say good things about it. It is a horror novel, and from what I remember, I think it has something to do with experimenting on prisoners and potentially having people kind of lose their sanity, maybe. I think it's kind of maybe sci-fi-y horror. I don't really know, but those are the 2 books that I have on my KU that would really help my team out. So I will definitely be reading at least one of those. 2 other books that I don't own physically but will at some point are Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the sequel to Divine Rivals. This has a very white cover. I recently ordered the Fairy Loot Special Edition, so I will read this if my library hold comes in and the library book is like the original cover. So this kind of depends on if I can get my hands on it or not within the month of March. So that that is a definite potential read for this month. It also would get me bonus points because it's like the final book. At least I think. I think that this series is only a duology. So it's like the final book to tie up that series, and that is another way to get bonus points. Another one that I don't own yet, but I will as soon as it comes in. I already pre-ordered it. It was supposed to come out in January, but it got pushed back to March. So hopefully that doesn't change. So if it doesn't, and I still get it by the current release date, I will definitely be reading The Dawn and Its Light by Piper C.J. This is the final book, so it's actually another bonus point for final books of the series called The Night and Its Moon by Piper C.J. I have loved this series so much. I've talked about it on every single top list since I've had a booktube. I love this series so much. It's a bisexual fantasy romance, and it's been a blast. I'm having a great time with it, and I can't wait to read this final book. I'm also like really scared and really nervous and really sad because it is the final, and I hope that it leaves on like a really great note. So we'll see. And then we'll go through the rest of the books that I have that have white covers. So I did put on the stack Night of the Mannequins by Stephen Graham Jones. There is a weekend in March where you get extra bonus points for every book that you finish within like 48 hours or something like that. So for that weekend specifically, I pulled a bunch of novellas and like shorter books. So this will probably definitely be read that weekend specifically. I literally don't know anything about this. It's just like the title and by Stephen Graham Jones. That's it. I'm not even gonna look into it since it is just a novella. We'll see. I hope it's weird. And I hope it's creepy and scary and disturbing. So there's that one. Next, with another white cover, is Death Valley by Melissa Broder. This one was recently brought to my attention. I think it was Sid that recommended this. She said it's very like fever dream feeling where this woman gets lost in the desert and probably starts like hallucinating. It sounds really interesting. It's really not too long either, so it should be a pretty quick read. So I really want to get to this one. I have recently been craving very weird books. So I have a stack that I'll share last, which are a bunch of books that I already kind of wanted to read in March anyway that all fall into like the weird category. So this one was great because it overlapped with the readathon. Next, I have Star of Acre by Andrew Michael Hurley. I love this cover. I don't know what it is. If a bunny is on the cover or like a rabbit or like a jackal, anything like that, I almost immediately want to read it and buy it, even if I don't know what it's about. All I know with this one is I think it's like a full core, and that's all I know. That's all I need to know. I'm really excited. This also looks like it would be a pretty quick read because the font is actually pretty big. So I think that this would be a very quick one to get through, and I'm really intrigued by it. I haven't heard, I think I've seen like one Instagram post about it and they liked it, but I haven't really heard many people talk about it. I don't know when this book came out. Maybe it's like a super backlist book and maybe that's why. I haven't really heard many people talk about it. Oh, it was published in 2019, so like not that backlist at all. But this is definitely on the stack and we'll see if I get to it. Next, I have A Fragile Enchantment by Allison Saft. I recently got this from Fairy Loot. This is the Fairy Loot edition. And all I like kind of have surmised from this book is it's like a fantasy romance with a noble and like a seamstress. And there's like magic, obviously. So I don't know, I haven't really heard anybody like talk about it yet, but I think that this edition is absolutely stunning and I'm really drawn towards it. There is a prompt to get bonus points for a special edition, so this would definitely help with that. So I might get to this, we'll see. I know that somebody else on my team is planning on reading it. And I am really intrigued by it, and it's a stunning edition. Actually, let me show you the naked cover. The naked cover is like, I love it. I love it. I think the naked cover is absolutely beautiful. Anyways, this is on the list. The last one I have is not a white cover, but it has an object on the cover and it takes place at a school, which is another option for bonus points, which actually applies to all of the teams. But that would be A Deadly Education by Naomi Novik. I recently bought this one, so this was like very recently added to my physical TBR. And it just sounds interesting. It's like a fantasy romance, but at a school. And because like the theme of the readathon revolves around this like magic school pretty much, it just like makes me really want to read one. So we have this. I have a good feeling that I might get to this one, honestly, but we'll see. I'm not making any promises for most of these other than my super, super highly anticipated ones, but this is definitely high on the stack. The next two books I picked out are because Cassidy herself recommends them and gave them both 5 stars. So the first one I don't own, so again, it kind of depends on if I can get it from my library or maybe I'll buy it. We'll see. I got a lot of other options though, so I kind of feel bad if I buy it. And that is Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I have just been seeing this everywhere and I want to know. I want to know. It is a stunning cover. All I remember about it is it's a fantasy romance, and I think that based on like the tagline, because I think it says like hunter gets hunted or something like that. I think it's like a enemies to lover, like hunter versus huntee relationship romance thing. And then in this world, if you don't have powers, you're supposed to be killed because of the king. It's like an order from the king. And this main character actually doesn't have powers, but she's been like hiding it somehow. I don't know. I've been really intrigued by this. I keep seeing it. Cassidy like really sold me on it. It sounds amazing. So this might be one I get to. We'll see. If I don't get to it this month, it will definitely eventually be read by me because I am very much interested and intrigued by this one. Next up, this one was featured on her top books of 2023 and I already owned it. So Ghost Eaters by Clay McLeod Chapman. This book is like a grief horror that I think surrounds a lot around addiction. So this is like a heavier one. I don't know if I'll get to it, quite honestly. We'll see. I'm just like not super drawn to this right now. I'm feeling way more drawn to fantasy romance and to weird lit right now at the moment versus like horror. But we'll see. I might get to this one. I don't know. But it's an option. Next up, I have just a few, well, I have like one novella, I guess, that doesn't really fit necessarily any of the bonus point prompts, but again, I wanted to pull some more novellas specifically for that 48-hour weekend where we get extra bonus points. So I pulled Goddess of Filth by V. Castro, which I still have not gotten to. So this, if I read it, will be specifically for that weekend. Otherwise, I don't know if it really applies to any other bonus points, not at least for my team specific ones, but maybe for the prompts. I didn't really pick books based as much on the prompts just because there's quite a few of them and I feel like they can apply to a lot of just whatever books, like even just again mood reading books that you're not picking based off your team's bonus points. So as I read books, I'll revisit those prompts and see what other points I can get off of them, but this is just another short book that I wanted to have available. There might be some other novellas that I didn't pull that I might read depending on how quickly I get through books in that 48 hours, we'll see. But I do also want to potentially get to some more Yona of the Dawn volumes. I just pulled 3 just because if I read them, I'll probably read at least 3. I am up to volume 12. I really need to jump back into this world. It's been a while since I read one of these volumes. So this again is kind of like perfect for the 48 hours. But Yona of the Dawn is just a very cute and sweet manga series, and it's one of the very few, if not the only series I read that is just like purely happy and like makes me feel good and makes me like giggle and kick my feet. Like it's fun. It's very adventurous. I love the main character. It's very much about finding yourself and finding your voice and finding your strength. And there might be a romance that happens, I hope. It hasn't happened yet. But her bodyguard, Hawk, there's some tension there, and I love it. And I'm excited to see where it goes. So again, I really need to get back into this series. So I definitely have some volumes of Yona of the Dawn on the stack as well. So this last stack is books that I already kind of wanted to read, but they all land under kind of the umbrella term of being weird. Somebody somewhere somehow has called these books weird. And like I said, I really have been wanting to read some more weird books. So I have this stack. So first I have Tear by Erica McKean. I literally have no idea what this is about. No idea. I just recently saw somebody talk about it and they said it was very weird, and I said say no more, and my library didn't have a copy, so I bought a copy, and I have no idea what to expect with this other than weird. So there's that one. I do know that there is a prompt for negative points to take points away from another team where the title is one word. So this would at least get some negative points out of that, maybe some negative points somewhere else, but this is a possibility that I might read. Next is, I don't know if I'm going to say this correctly, so I apologize, Paradise by Fernanda Melchor. This is a translated work. It's very short. So this one has to do with like two misfit teenagers. They sneak around and get drunk, and one is like addicted to porn, obsessively fantasizes about seducing his neighbor. It just seems like very gray morality characters, and I'm very curious to see where this goes. It says it explores the explosive fragility of Mexican society with its racist, classist, hyper-violent tendencies, and how the myths, desires, and hardships of teenagers can tear life apart at the seams. So this is probably going to be quite heavy, probably disturbing at times. So this is probably one that's not for the faint of heart, but I think it sounds very interesting and I can't wait to read it. Next I have Nefando by Monica Ojeda. This is the book that I bought at the same time as Paradise, and I'm really excited to read this one. I absolutely adored and loved and ate up Jawbone by Monica Ojeda, so I can't wait to check out another translated work from her. I'm so excited. This one sounds like it's going to be very weird, very like fever dream feeling. It has something to do with like all of our characters that again I think are quite gray morality, probably tormented by some very dark secrets or desires, something like that. They end up connecting to Nefando, a controversial cult video game whose purpose remains a mystery. So it seems like it's going to be weird, and it seems like it's going to be dark and probably a little bit disturbing. So kind of right up my alley. I am really excited to get to this one. This is another one that's on the shorter side at just under 200 pages. So we'll see if I get to this one. Next, I did put Boy Parts by Eliza Clark on this list. Quite frankly, I don't think that I will get to this one, but this was just within my stack of weird lit books that I've recently obtained. And yeah, so all I know about this one, it has something to do with like our main character is a photographer, and I think she creates a like gallery based on these photos she takes of like men. And I think it's very like sexually based and very sexually driven. And I'm sure that there's some other messed up stuff involved. I don't really know. I've heard quite mixed things about this one, and I do definitely want to read it at some point. That's why I bought it, but I don't know that I will read it this month, but it's a possibility. If somebody wants to convince me to do it this month specifically, I will, but I don't know. I'm not like fully drawn to this one. So it's definitely like lower in my stack, but it's there. Then I have Earthlings by Sayaka Murata. Again, this is just described as weird, and that's all I know. I feel like it might have something to do with aliens just based on the title, or maybe it's just like dystopian or very like sci-fi-esque. I don't know. I've really never even heard anybody try to describe the plot or like the premise, and I did not read the back at all. Again, it just is described as weird, and I said good enough. It's another one that I hear people say is very like fever dream feeling, and that's sometimes exactly what I want. So those are all the books that I have on my stack for the month of March. I feel like I ran through those very fast, but I did talk about 20 books, so that's a lot. So like I said, I'm definitely not going to get through all of them. I'm gonna try. I'm definitely going to try, but it's really not likely that I will. Although a lot of them are actually on the shorter side, so I definitely might be able to get through like a good amount. We'll see. I'm hoping I can get some of these through audiobook as well to really help me get through a few more. But that's my stack for March and for REALM-A-THON. I am so excited. If you joined the readathon, let me know what books you picked out for your team specifically if you're on a different team than I am, or if you didn't join the readathon, let me know what you want to read in March anyways. If you've read any of these books, let me know what you thought of them, all the fun stuff. That is going to be everything for today's video. If you haven't yet, please give the video a like, subscribe for future content, turn on the bell notification, all the fun YouTube things that help your girl out, and I will catch you guys in the next video. Bye!